Om Sada Shiva
Shiva
Samaram
Samarambham Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Madhyamam Asmadacharya
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Paryantam Vande
Vande Guru
Guru Paramparam
Paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana
Sahano
Bhunaktu
Bhunaktu
Saha Viryam
Sahaviryam
Karvavahai
Karvavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma
Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma
Vidvishavahai
Vidvishavahai
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.
Okay, so we had been talking about prajna and we saw the Veshti aspect, the individual aspect of prajna in mantra number 5. So we are going to now chant mantra number 6, which will talk about the samashti aspect, the total aspect. So mantra 6, Mandukya Upanishad. Esha sarveshwaraha.
Isha Sarveshwaraha
Esha sarvajnaha.
Isha Sarvajnaha
Esho antaryamyesha yonihi.
Isho Antaryami Esha Yonihi
Sarvasya prabhapyayo hi bhutanam.
Sarvasya Prabhavayo Hi Bhutanam
Prabhavapyayo hi bhutanam.
Prabhavayo Hi Bhutanam.
So, this is the samashti aspect of prajna, and as you can see, he names it Antaryami Eshaha. It is Antaryami. So, Eshahi, the first Eshahi, this refers to what? The consciousness alone. This consciousness alone, Sarvajnaha, is the knower of everything. And when you say Sarvajnaha, you're talking about Samashti, and therefore it says Esha Antaryami. That very same consciousness which was the prajna with the individual namarupa is now called antaryami when you allocate the appropriate, the samashti namarupa, the totality namarupa, when you associate with that very same consciousness, it is called antaryami. And antaryami because it is present in everything. So both the sukshma prapancha, the subtle universe, and the sthula prapancha, the gross universe, they are born from this antaryami. Antaryami is the causal body, universal causal body, samashti karana shariram. So from this totality of karana nama rupa prapancha, the karanam, which is the universal name and form, from them alone, the sukshma prapancha, the subtle universe, as well as the sthula universe is born. So you can also say that from Antaryami is born Hiranyagarbha and Virat also. And therefore, this Antaryami, which is the third pada, we're talking about the third pada. This Antaryami is the Karana Atma. Remember that Sthula Prapancha and Sukshma Prapancha were Karya Atma. They were the products. And this is the Karanam Atma of the whole universe. And therefore only Sarveshwaraha. So, this Ishvara, Sarva Ishvara, Ishvara of everything, is what is the name which Shruti calls consciousness, right? Ishvara is Brahman only, the consciousness part only, but associated with name and form, which is Maya. Just like when we say ocean, we are just giving it the meaning of giving water. The essence is water. We are calling a very large body of water the ocean because it is water associated in a very large body. That is called ocean. There is no substance called the ocean, mind you. It is only another name for water, but associated with a huge body. Similarly, there is no substance called Ishvara. It is a consciousness principle alone, Brahman alone, but associated with the potential universal name and form. So, samashti nama rupaha. Karana, samashti, Namarupaha. That is the potential, universal names and forms. It is called Sarveshwaraha. Sarvasya Ishwaraha. Ishita, the ruler of all creation. Sarvasya Ishwaraha, the ruler of the whole creation. So three words we have to remember. Sarveshwaraha, Sarvagnyaha, and Antaryami. They are all indicating the same Ishvara. But why three words? Three words indicate three different aspects, right? So what does Sarveshwara indicate?
Controller of the universe.
You can take it as controller also, but basically it indicates total power, right? Ishvara has to create the whole universe. Therefore, he needs omnipotence as creator. Therefore, Sarveshwaraha indicates omnipotence, and that omnipotence is used to create the universe because he is Sarvagnaha. Sarvagnaha indicates total knowledge. Sarveshwaraha indicates total power. Total power combined with total knowledge makes him the creator. So Sarvagnaha is omniscience. Sarveshwaraha is omnipotence. And Antaryami is what? Omnipresence. Because he is present in each and every part of the creation. Therefore, the totality is described by Sarveshwaraha, Sarvagnaha, Antaryami. Antaryami indicates the omnipresence, and that is why he is called the inner controller. How does he control? Because he is the karma phala data. Through the fructifying allocation of karma phalam to the fructifying karma of each jiva, control is maintained, and therefore Antaryami. Shankara adds in his commentary, he is the controller of all beings. And this is Yesha Yonihi. Yonihi means the womb, the Upadana Karanam, the material cause. Therefore, this potential Antaryami, potential Namarupa alone becomes the manifest Namarupa. It is Avyakta Maya which alone becomes Vyakta Maya, right? If you want an example, we can think of a lump of clay from which you have varieties of, forms, like a plate is there, a sphere is there, a geometrical shape can be cast from that form. And therefore, this clay has got all forms, but how? In unmanifest form. So similarly, Antaryami has got the entire creation, all the forms present in the entire creation is there in Antaryami in the potential form only. Incidentally, that is why, the Shivalinga worship or the Salagrama worship, they are considered to be the highest forms of worship, since they are not a particular form, but that spherical form contains all the forms. So Rama, Krishna, Ganesha, every form is there in the Salagrama or the Shivalinga. While if you take a particular form, the Rama form does not contain Krishna form, or Devi form does not contain Rama form. And therefore, Shivalinga is all forms. So this Ishvara is the, and he defines it. In the Vivek Chudamani, it is defined as the Karana Shariram of the universe. That Maya is the Karana Shariram. That Antaryami is the causal body of the universe. And it generates this universe. That single causal body, that single Antaryami is the creator of the universe with all its differences. And therefore he says, Prabhavapyau. Prabhavapyau means Prabhavaha and Apyayaha. When you break it up, it is Prabhavaha and Apyayaha. Prabhavaha means creation. So Srishti Karanam, Apyaya means destruction, Laya Karanam. Therefore, Prabhavapyayau Vibhutanam. He is the Srishti Karanam as well as the Laya Karanam for all beings, for the entire universe. And though the mantra doesn't say it, wherever there is Srishti Karanam and Laya Karanam, What must be in between?
Sthiti, the maintenance.
Sthiti Karanam. Therefore, Sthiti Karanam, we have to supply. It's not there. But Srishti plus Laya, Laya cannot come without Srishti having gone through Sthiti also. Therefore, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya Karanam of Bhutanam, all the individual jivas, all the individual Namarupas. So, this third pada, which is Samashti Prajna, is the Upadana Karanam for the entire creation. Okay. As I said before, if this third pada is the Upadana Karanam, what are the Karyams? The Karyam are the first and second pada. The first pada was what? Jagrat Prapancha. The second pada was Swapna Prapancha. Therefore, these Swapna Prapancha and Jagrat Prapanchas, they are the products. They are the Karyam of this third pada, which is the Karanam. Now remember, we said Yonihi. Yonihi here is taken as Upadana Karanam. Now, if the next question is, if this pada is the Upadana Karanam, what is the Nimitta Karanam? This mantra itself says Nimitta Karanam is Antaryami only. Which expression in the mantra indicates that? Yonihi is, of course, indicating the material cause, the Upadana Karanam. But there is another expression here, another adjective, which indicates that it is also the intelligent cause, the Nimitta Karanam. What is that adjective? Look at the mantra carefully.
Sarvagnya.
Sarvagnya. Sarvagnya means intelligence, omniscience. Therefore, this Tritiya Pada, this Prajna, this Antaryami, is both the intelligent cause as well as the material cause of the entire universe. And omniscience is needed because individual creators need to have a knowledge of their individual traits, while the creator of the universe requires the entire knowledge of everything. That is why Sarvagnya. And of course, just Sarvagnya is not enough, and that is why he says Sarveshwaraha. Total skill is also required. So these two put together indicate that there is Nimitta Karanam and Upadana Karanam. Both are there in this Yonihi, in this Upadana Karanam, which is Antaryami. So these are the three roles that I play. Okay, you have to start telling yourself this. I play these three roles. Which three roles? In fact, I play 6 roles associated with the individual body. Which roles do I play? Which 3 roles do I play?
Karan of Sukshma and
No. Associated with individual body, I play
Vishwa,
Vishwa, Taijasa,
Prajna.
and Prajna.
and Prajna. Associated with the total body, I play what?
Virat,
Virat.
Hiranyagarbha, and Antaryami.
So these 6 roles I play, but they are always in association with something. And when I am not associated with these roles, these 6 roles are my dresses. When I take off the dresses, what am I? That I am Turyam. Turyam is that Nirvesha, that without any dress, the consciousness without a dress. That is Turyam. And that Turyam is actually the main topic of this Upanishad. And the knowledge of Turyam alone will liberate you. Remember that all roles, any of these 6 roles, they've got problems. So you can, because why? You're on stage. And on stage you are bound. You are never free on stage. It is only in the green room where I drop all the 6 roles that I can claim my own nature. And therefore I have to know that role-free nature, which is neither waker, dreamer, sleeper, not Antaryami, not Hiranyagarbha, not Virat. Right? Apart from all that, I have the role of Turyam, pure consciousness, not associated with any of the roles. So the first 3 padas, remember, they are superimpositions. Over what? Over me. because I am Brahman, I am consciousness principle alone. And the first three padas, both aspects, okay, the individual aspect of the first three padas and the total aspect of the first three padas. So both Vishwa, Virat, Tajasa, Hiranyagarbha, Prajna, Antaryami. These three pairs of roles, they are basically Adhyaropa. They are all superimpositions upon me. And so far, the Upanishad has presented what? It has presented Adhyaropa Prakaranam. The process of superimposition it has presented, right? It is a teaching methodology, Adhyaropa, that has been presented. The next one obviously has to be Apavada, negation of these three roles. And that will happen in the seventh mantra. But before the seventh mantra, Gaudapada writes a small little commentary on the first six mantras. It's a summarization of the first six mantras. He writes 9 verses. And these are called Karikas. And if you see the text, you will find that after the sixth mantra, remember that up to now is mantras. Mantras belonging to the Upanishad, right? Shruti. If you see the next one, it is not mantra number 7. It says Karika number 1. Ka means Karika. Karika is a commentary upon an Upanishad in a verse form, right? VERSE form. Okay, not the other verse, not WORSE. VERSE form. And this Gaudapada writes. And in these 9 mantras, he summarizes the 9 Karikas, he summarizes the first 6 mantras. So let us look at the Karika number 1. So we will chant. Bahih prajño vibhur vishvaha yantah prajñastu tejasaha ghana prajñastatha prajñah eka eva tridha smritah. Okay, so which chanda is this?
Anushtup.
Anushtup chanda. Okay, so I'm not explaining that. I'm taking for granted that all of you are familiar with the Anushtup chanda. So in the first 5 Karikas, Gaudapada. Who is Gaudapada?
Shankaracharya's Guru's Guru.
Shankarachary's Guru's Guru. And his Guru was who?
Govindapada.
Govindapad.
Govinda Bhagavad-pada. Okay, so little things which you should know. So in these first 5 Karikas, Gaudapada is summarizing the first 5 mantras. He does it in a particular way. He doesn't explain each pada separately. So he clubs the 3 padas together, and in each of the 5 Karikas, he presents different aspects of the padas. Rather than taking each pada and talking about them, what he is doing is he's clubbed all the padas together. He's taking separate aspects and he's presenting them in each Karika. So in the first Karika, for example, he discusses the Padatrayam. The 3 padas itself he discusses. In the second Karika, he discusses the location, the Sthanatrayam. We'll come to that, we'll talk about it. Location, why? Location is talked about for the purpose of Upasana. Whenever you locate Atma, remember, Saguna Brahman is being talked about, Saguna Atma is talked about, and location is always for the purpose of Upasana, right? And for the purpose of Upasana, the scriptures choose a particular part of your body as the location of the particular pada, which we will see. So in the third Karika, he talks about the 3 types of experiences enjoyed by each pada, Bhogatrayam. In the fourth Karika, he talks about what is the satisfaction that each pada gets. So Tripti Trayam, that is what is the content of the fourth Karika. And the fifth Karika, he talks about the benefits of Jnanam. Okay, so let us look at the first Karika which we just chanted. Bahihi prajnaha vibhuhu vishvaha. You can understand? Bahihi prajnaha, the consciousness which is focused outwards. Bahihi. Prajnaha is consciousness. Remember here, it is not prajnaha, it is prajnaha. Prajnaha, consciousness. Bahihi, focused outside, is Vishvaha. So here, the name Vishva is given to the consciousness focused outside. The mantra does not give the name Vishva. It is Gaudapada who gives the name Vishva. And he says that consciousness which is focused outside is Vishva. He is talking about the individual body. And he says that same consciousness focused outside is also Vibhuhu. Vibhuhu means all pervading. So referring to what? Virat. Therefore, this consciousness which is focused outside has two aspects. The first pada is Vishwa, the waker, identified with the physical body during the waking state and identified with the universe. It is Virat. Virat name is not mentioned, we have to supply. So the Bahihi Prajnaha is the Prathama Pada, obtaining where? In the waking state, in Jagrat Avastha. And that's why he says, the same consciousness which you experience during the Jagrat Avastha, associated with your physical body and mind, that same consciousness, Vishwa, is Vibhuhu. It is also the consciousness which identifies with the total Namarupa, and we call it Virat. So here, in one simple, phrase, the identity of Vishwa and Virat as the individual consciousness principle has been put forward. Okay, that is the first quarter. Then, first quarter of the verse. In one quarter, he has done that. In the next quarter, it is he anta prajnaha tu taijasaha. So, indeed, that same consciousness, that same consciousness which we talked about in the first quarter as focused outside, and we gave it the name of Vishwa and Virat, tu. But when that same consciousness, anta prajnaha, is focused inside, what is it called? Taijasaha. The individual Taijasaha it is called. And this Taijasaha is self-effulgent. We saw somewhere. Every thought in your mind, when you are asleep, there is no external object. And then, since the mind is conscious, is pervaded by Chaitanyam, every object of that mind is also pervaded by Chaitanya, right? So every thought is effulgent. It is revealed without the need of any separate light to reveal it, or any separate mind to reveal it. That is automatically revealed because it is pervaded by consciousness principle. And this Taijasaha, we have to supply, is not different from whom? From Hiranyagarbha, from the viewpoint of consciousness. So this Taijasaha, identified with the dream body, turned inwards, introverted consciousness, it is the Taijasaha. And you have to supply here, not specifically stated, you have to supply that same Taijasaha is also called Hiranyagarbha when associated with external consciousness. That is the two padas. Then the third pada is taken up in the third quarter. Ghana prajnaha tatha prajnaha sprataha. Sprataha here means is called or is named. So ghana prajnaha tatha prajnaha. This is the tritiya pada. And what is ghana prajnaha? So he says ghana prajnaha is called prajna, right? Earlier he said that what is consciousness focused inwards was called Tajasaha. Consciousness focused outwards was called Vishwa. And here he says this consciousness which is called Prajnaha, it is Ghana Prajnaha. So Ghanaha is an undifferentiated lump, a big mass, where no differentiation can be seen. Therefore, Ghana Prajnaha means that consciousness in which there are no differences. What does it mean? It should be easy answer because you know what Prajna is.
Associated with Karan Shariram, the consciousness associated.
Yes, but what does it mean by saying Ghana Prajna? There is no
No
difference.
thought divisions.
There are
No
no thoughts over there.
selfish.
Remember, every differentiation of an object is only because there is a differentiated thought. Okay. Every object which you differentiate is because there is a differentiating vritti, thought present in your mind. And in this prajnaha, since the mind is not available, the thoughts are not available, objects are not available, therefore ganaha, undifferentiated mass of consciousness, it is what is meant by gana prajnaha. That non-differentiated mass of consciousness is called prajnaha. Okay. Now Shankara adds a very important comment over here. He says these three padas are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive. What is the implication?
Only
We can
one
be.
is,
Sorry, please go ahead, Arunaji.
Please.
Please.
at one time only it can be associated with one.
Correct. So what he is saying is substratum behind all the padas is only one, Turiam. However, that Turiam can appear associated with only one of the padas at one point of time. The three states cannot be simultaneous ever. Each one can appear, but only when the other two are excluded. Right? You have the note over there. And Gaudapada therefore says Eka Eva Tridaha. All the three padas, Tridaha, all three padas are Eka Eva. They are only one Chaitanyam. All the three padas are the same consciousness, the same I, but with different names and forms. So Eka Eva is the original consciousness called Turyam alone. This Turyam alone is known by 6 different names. 3 associated with the individual bodies, 3 associated with the universal states. So Tridha, the waker, dreamer and sleeper are the same all the time. And I, the Turyam, am known by these 3 pairs of names. So that's the aspect of the pada presented. Right. Now, in the second Karika, he presents the aspect of the what we saw all called sthanam. If you see the earlier mantras, there was a word sthanam used. So he's presenting that. What does sthanam mean? We will see. So let us chant the second Karika. Dakshinakshi mukhe vishvaha manasyantastu taijasaha
Taijasaha
akashe cha hridi prajnaha
Akashe Prajnaha
त्रिधा देहे व्यवस्थितः
Trida Dehe Vyavastitaha.
So the sthanam, the location of the 3 padas are being discussed. This is not seen in the mantra portion excepting by way of that one simple word called sthanam. But the idea here, it has been introduced by Gaudapada. Of course, I have to clarify that it is not Gaudapada's original idea. It's a topic borrowed from Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, wherever upasanas are discussed, the location of the deity of the Upasyam deity is also discussed. Okay. So these Upanishads, for example, they talk about 3 types of upasanas. This is the Aikya Upasana. Aikya Upasana is what? Where the micro and the macro, Vyashti and Samashti, oneness. The Aikyam of Vyashti and Samashti, the oneness of micro and macro are meditated upon. These are particular upasanas. Like, for example, meditating upon the oneness of the wave and the ocean, or the wave, wave and the, or the water and the lake, right? The oneness of both are meditated upon. So when one deliberately sees the oneness in what is apparently 2 different entities, that meditation is called Aikya Upasana. It's called a Vyashti, Samashti, Aikya Upasana. And this is an extremely important upasana from the point of view of the scriptures, because it serves to remind us what we constantly forget. What is that? That I don't exist. I, the Vyashti, the individual, do not exist separate from the Samashti. So it's extremely good, useful meditation for getting rid of ego. For ego, subtracting meditation. And we have seen 2 or 3 such meditations. In Taittiriya, for example, we saw what? Pankta Brahma Upasana. We saw Samhita Upasana. Both these are nothing but Vyashti, Samashti, Aikya Upasanas. I am not dwelling upon the details. If you don't remember, I would suggest you go back to Taittiriya Upanishad and then look upon these particular sections. Now, in this particular Karika, the Upasana referred to is the Vishwa Virat Aikya Upasana, Taijasa Hiranya Garbha Aikya Upasana, and Prajna Antaryami Aikya Upasana. Remember, Antaryami is also called Ishvara. So you can say Prajna Antaryami, or you can say Prajna Ishvara Aikyam. Okay. Whenever you do a upasana, you need a alambanam, a locus for invocation. Like when you do upasana on Lord Shiva, Shiva Linga is the alambana. When you do upasana on Lord Vishnu, Salagramam is the alambana. Similarly, for any upasana, alambanam is required, and the alambanams mentioned in this Karika, they are borrowed from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So he says, Dakshina Akshi Mukhe. Can you understand? Dakshina Akshi Mukhe. What does it mean?
South
Right
So,
eye,
mouth.
right eye,
Yeah. Mukha.
mukha
Okay.
is the
Face.
socket,
Mukha is the
Mouth of
opening.
face.
Mukha is
Yeah.
opening.
socket
So the opening
of
of
the
the
right eye.
right eye. Right. So Dakshina is literally, of course, Dakshina means south. But you have to take it as right. Why? Because when you
East.
stand to do Upasana, you are facing the east. And to the right side is the south. And therefore it's taken as right. So Dakshina Akshi Mukhe, on the opening of the right eye, Vishwa. Vishwa is invoked. Okay. So why eye? The question might be asked, why eye? Because Vishwa is not located only in the eye, right? Vishwa is what? Consciousness all over the body. So Shankara says in his commentary that among all the sense organs, the eye is a prominent sense organ, and even among both the eyes, the right eye is usually more prominent, and therefore the usage of the right eye means the most prominent part of the body, right? So that, and remember, this is meant only for upasana purpose. Okay, so we have to add over here that we earlier saw that Vishwa and Virat were equated, both that would remember. And Shankara in his commentary, he quotes other Pramanam also, why this is the right eye. So for example, he quotes the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad where it is said that Virat is the name of the Vishwa. So the Virat and Vishwa, Aikyam is being talked about, right? So he says Virat is the name of Vishwa. And of course, he's, the Aikyam is at what level? It is at the Prathama Pada level, the first Pada level. It's not at the OC level. It's not at Turyam level. It is at the Prathama Pada level. So there can be objection here. When you try to equate Vishwa and Virat, what should be the objection? Vishwa is finite, Virat is infinite. How can you equate the infinite Virat to the finite Vishwa? What is the answer? Shankara gives the answer, but we should know. What is the answer? The difference is superficial, like the pot space and total space, right? So Shankara quotes Shruti and Smriti in defense. So I will quote the Shruti to you first, which is something we have not done. Shweta Ashvataro Upanishad. Okay. Shweta Ashvataro Upanishad. So he says, Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudaha. This is what that Upanishad says. Eko Devaha, that one Chaitanyam, Gudaha, is hidden, where Sarva Bhuteshu, in all the bodies. So talking about the same Chaitanyam being there in individual body and in all the bodies. So he says this Shruti Pramanam is there for Virat, Vishwa, Aikyam. And of course he gives what we are familiar with, Kshetrajñam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And he gives another quote from 13th chapter, Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam. That undivided Chaitanyam, that Avibhaktam, the undivided Chaitanyam, vibhaktam eva sthitam, appears in multiple forms, as multiple jivas. That one undivided Chaitanyam, it appears as multiple jivas. So there is no difference between the Vishwa and the Virat from the point of view of consciousness, not from the point of view of bodies. So again, Shankara doesn't go into a detailed defense upon this idea, that Vishwa and Virat are equated. He does not go into a detailed defense. Why? Because it is meant only for Upasana. There is no jnanam to be extracted. There is no tatparyam to be extracted from this idea of Vishwa, Virat, Aikyam. Therefore, Shankara does not go into a detailed commentary on this. Basically, he is saying that this is what Upanishad says. Let us accept that. So that is the first part of the mantra, first quarter. The next quarter is Manasyantastu Taijasaha. Right. So the location of Taijasaha, the dreamer, is inside the mind. So Antaha Manasyantastu, you have to break up as Manasi Antaha tu Taijasa. That location of Taijasa is inside the mind. We saw before, dreams are only projection of thoughts. Thoughts which are vasanas, they are in the mind. And therefore, there is no object outside. Everything that you see in your sleeping state, in your dreaming state, is come from the mind only, right? There is no object outside. Therefore, you have to remember this. Tajasa is where? Is in the mind, right? And we saw before, why is it called Tajasa? Because it is self-effulgent. It doesn't need any other, source of knowledge to reveal. Okay. In this, Shankara adds a very interesting note. He says that this Tajasa, you of course experience that dreamer in the dreaming state. But he says that even in the waking state, you can experience the dreamer. Very interesting statement. He says the dreamer normally experienced in the dreaming state only can be seen in Jagrat Avastha also. How? He says you look at some object, let us say the glass in front of you, or the mobile phone in front of you, or Shivaling in front of you. Then you close your eyes and you visualize the same internally, right? Your eyes are closed. So what is meant by saying the visualize it? The same conditions which are there in the dream are being replicated. The external object is not available to you. You are visualizing the form, the particular form from your memory. It is being projected by your mind. And therefore, it is the same as a dreamer experiencing dream objects. Does it make sense?
Yes, Acharya, it's quite fascinating, but I would think that it is the lingering of what I have seen that is there in my within my mind for a few seconds.
It is a lingering of whatever you have seen, that is your vasana also.
Hmm.
There is no difference at all. So vasana
Right.
rupam, that is the word that he uses. Vasana rupam. It is
Right.
the form of the impression formed by
Right.
a perception. Okay.
Correct.
So remember that your perception, it generates the impression, right? And the impression, when the perception is not there, the impression generates memory. So anubhava generates vasana, that is to say the experiential perception, it generates the vasana, the impression in your mind. When the object is not there, that vasana, the impression, it generates smriti, the thought, the memory. Right? So he says, just as in a dream. Yatha swapne tatra swapne. Yatha tata tatra swapne, he says. As the person projects in Jagrata Avastha, by closing his mind, by closing his eyes, in the same way, the dreamer projects in Swapna Avastha. Therefore, there's a reason for this. Why is he saying this? Because the Taijasa who is inside the mind, he says, is none other than the Vishwa. The connection is established when you close your eyes and try to visualize the object which you saw. Seeing the object is the Vishwa experience. Visualizing the object no longer being seen is the Tajasa experience. So from there, Shankara says, Tajasa api Vishwa, they are both the same. Okay, very important, beautiful little way of presentation. Then, Akashe cha hridi pragnyaha. So, hridi akashe, you put them together. Hridi akashe pragnyaha. What is hridi akashaha? We have seen before.
Space in the heart cavity.
The heart cavity, space in the heart, right? The space in the heart, which is used for meditation. For all upasana, that space in the heart is also sometimes used. Okay. So, this Hridi Akashe, he says, and you have to add a lot of things. He simply says Hridi Akashe. He says this prajna location is where? In the Hridi Akashe. Right. Now you are seeing the locations. What is the location of the Vishwa?
Right eye.
Right eye opening. What is the location of Tajasa?
Mind.
Mind. This is the third location. He is saying Hridi Akashe. The Vishwa is located in the Akash, cavity of the mind, the Akashe. Why does he say that? Because according to Shastram, during Sushupti, all the faculties are withdrawn into from their Golakas. All the faculties are withdrawn into the Hridayam. Golakams are there, but the Indriya Shakti, the power which makes those golakams functional, they are withdrawn into the Hridaya Akasha. So that is why he says Prajna is to be located in the space of the heart, the Hridaya Akasha. And again he says, Trida Dehe Vivasthitaha. All the three jivas, which are located in this threefold manner, they are all can be experienced in different states, but the consciousness is only one. Okay. Any questions so far? It's a different sort of presentation, so you need to be really focused. Okay. So, assuming that everybody is understood, we will go to the third Karika. Vishvo hi sthula bhungaha
Vishwo hi sthula
स्थूलभः
nityam taijasa pravivikta bhukaha
nityam
नित्यं तैजसप्रभृतभुकः
nityam taijasa pravivikta bhukha
नित्यं तैजसप्रभृतभुकः
Ananda bhuk tatha prajna
आनन्दमुक्तथा प्राज्ञः
Ananda bhuk tatha prajna
आनन्दमुक्तथा प्राज्ञः
Trida bhogam nibodhataha.
भोगं निबोधतः.
So look at the word bhoga, the experience. So he is presenting bhogatrayam, the threefold experiences of the three padas. What are the experiences that are available in each of these padas? Associated with each of these padas, what is the experience that is available to me? So he says, Vishvaha, the waker, Nityam Sthula Bhukha. Always, Nityam, constantly, Sthula Bhukha. He experiences the Sthulam, the gross world. Why does he say gross world? Because the waker, the objects which the waker contacts, they are not projected by the mind. They are outside him. They are made of Pancha Mahabhutas, which are what? Sthulam, right? Sthula Pancha Mahabhutas, which are the gross elements only he is able to see. Therefore, Vishwa is constantly in touch with the gross world. All the objects of the world he is able to contact. So that is what is meant by Nityam Vishwa Sthula Bhukaha. Vishwa constantly experiences the external world. Then Taijasaha Pravivikta Bhuk, right? The Taijasaha, he experiences Praviviktaha. Pravivikt literally means different. So you have to connect it here to Taijasaha Sthula Pravivikta Bhukaha. Taijasa experiences objects which are different from Sthula. Which means what?
Subtle.
Subtle, Sukshma, right? So this Tajasaha, he does not experience the external world. He experiences subtle world. The dreamer he is. Therefore, he is the bhokta of what? The subtle objects. And dreamer's objects are what? Subtle objects. They are only thoughts. Indriyas are non-functional. There are no external objects. Everything that the Tajasa experiences is a recall from memory. They are only his thoughts. And therefore, thoughts are experienced, but they are intangible. However, remember that the dream thoughts, in the dream, the thoughts are endowed with Shabda, Parsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, but they are not tangible from the point of view of the Vishwa. So he calls it subtle. As distinguished from the objects outside him, he is experiencing the objects inside him projected only by his mind. Okay. Then, Prajnaha Anandabhukaha. So the Prajnaha, the one who is in Sushupti Avastha, he enjoys Ananda. Right? Now remember, this is reflected Ananda. Right? This is not the original Ananda of Atma. It's not Atmananda. It is not Swarupa Ananda. It is Pratibimba Ananda, which means reflected bliss only. But he enjoys this bliss. Why? Because in Sushupti Avastha there are no divisions. The mind has been resolved. He is in Advaitam. In Advaitam, there is no one else. And what proof do you require to know that Advaitam alone is Ananda? There is a Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Shruti, which says, Dvitiyat vai bhayam bhavati. Wherever there are two, wherever there are more than one, there is fear. So when there is only one, there is no fear at all. There is only Ananda. So we all have this Advaita Anubhava. This Ananda Advaita Anubhava. It's not that we don't have any experience of Ananda. Our problem is what? The lack of knowledge that the real I, who is obtaining in the Jagradavastha, is not the RC. The OC is the real I and not the RC. That understanding I don't have. And therefore he says, Trida Bhogam Nebodataha. May you understand this as the threefold experiences in the three padas. So first there is the pada, then there is a location, and there is an experience. These three we have seen. So with this, we'll stop for today. We'll see the other karikas in the next session. Any questions? I'm open.
Om sir, not directly related, but this format in this Upanishad is something different, isn't it? The mantras, then karikas, and so is
It's a
it
very
because
short Upanishad. It has only 12 mantras. Basically, it
right,
talks only about Omkara Upasana and Omkara analysis and
right,
Atma analysis. Two things are talked about. Therefore, you will find that most of the stuff which is there in other Upanishads is not there here.
right.
And that's why the commentary is so long. Without the Karika commentary, it's not possible to really understand the Upanishad.
True, true. And last class, which I listened to the recordings, Acharya, it was very beautiful about how you had explained about the Cheto Mukha and how we move from waking to dreaming. We have to go through the Sushupti Avastha. That was a very
Yeah,
beautiful
so you will find a lot
explanation.
of Vedantic concepts we're explaining because we have not found suitable, place to explain
Yes,
it earlier. So some advanced
yes,
concepts are there. Of course,
right.
Shankara's commentary brings out all these things.
Correct. Yes.
So with this, we'll stop for today.
Yes, Acharya.
Om Purnamadav
Mada
Purnamidam
Purnamidam
Purnat
Purnamudachyate
Purnamudachyate
Purnasya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnamadaya
Purnam Evavasishyate.
Purnamevapashishyate.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah
Hari
Shivaya.
Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.